going back to the new Star Wars, and as we're talking about it, I've just had a rejig, and I thought, what if you were to say, these are brilliant directors, they have done something new with Star Wars, and it's down to you as the audience to work out what the meaning is. You know, like when you see films, they go, what, you know, you go watch Apocalypse Now, and you watch it as a kid, and you go, well, this is really heavy going, I don't quite get it, and you actually make the effort, like you do with these albums. Now, I think one of the things that's really interesting is that they started off almost making them like, you know when you're kids and you draw the head of somebody and then you fold it over, then someone does the body.
Yeah.
Isn't this an incredible thing to try and do with the Star Wars films? And I felt that the first one I really enjoyed the first one, and we were all into it.
Yeah.
The second one came out, and I really liked the second one because it had gone off on a completely new tangent.
Yeah.
The first one was almost like a copy of Star Wars, and then the next one was a sort of undoing of everything in it.
Yeah.
Then the fans all came in and went, well, we don't like it. And I just thought,
But I also remember that you didn't really like
I really liked the
Jedi.
second one. I thought it was incredible.
It's not a judgment thing, but I remember
really
that was, you said that was the reason you didn't go to see the episode 9 at the cinema after that one.
But
and I get it. I kind of get it, but also,
was there a knee-jerk reaction where J.J. Abrams, they bring in the original guy back in, and he just tried to steer it back on course? Because for me, that's what ruins it. Was somebody taking into account the audience.
Yeah.
So like on this spot, we've started off there going, that's what everyone tries to do. But surely one of the biggest artistic statements of the 20th and 21st century was actually ruined because somebody took into account and didn't have the guts to just pass it on to a completely new director, keep that thing going, and just go, look, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Well, because and that's the thing, because that is one of the things that goes against how the first trilogy worked, because wasn't it? It was George Lucas in the first one, but then it was Irvin Kershner, the director for second one. But who was the director on the third one?
It was the guy. He died, didn't he? The Return of the Jedi guy.
I need to find out, don't I?
Or was it the second one?
The
The second one was sort of George Lucas's teacher, wasn't it? He brought in his teacher from film school to direct the second one, if that's right.
Richard Marquand. It was Return of the Jedi. And
so that, if you think about it, what I'm trying to do, because I don't like
Irvin Kershner was the second one, and I think that's maybe the key.
Yeah.
That each of those three original films have such a different feel to them because of the three different directors. And I think, and you're right, I think you've got the episode 7 was a kind of clone of episode 4, which I think it needed to be because people needed to be welcomed back in.
Yeah.
And then 2 needed to do what it did, and then it's like, then he just came back and it was just like, oh no, what can we do? We had 3 films that we could bring the Emperor back in an amazing, like, oh my god moment, and we bring him in with the yellow text at the start. Like, that was, it felt like such an afterthought. It was like, oh, we better do this now.
Yeah.
And even within that film, they could have unleashed it better, and it just feels like it was, like you say, it was oh god, we can't fail on this last one. And actually, if they'd have just had the faith to go in whatever direction Rian Johnson had left it in, that we could have come out of this going, good grief, that was like a completely new set of...
which is... And but also really deeply pays homage to how the first 3 were made.
Yeah.
Well, when I watched the first of the reboots, what are they called?
The prequel. The
Rise of
Phantom
Skywalker.
Menace. No,
that's the
later
J.J. Abrams first one.
Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens, right? When I watched it, sort of back then, you didn't have this thing going on so much. I thought, well, it's the same story as Star Wars because the Force is actually at work.
Yeah.
And the Force works in a certain way, so it then finds somebody else. It finds Luke Skywalker and it finds somebody else. And I thought, oh, this is really interesting.
It's like a character itself.
Because a lot of the sort of plot anomalies in Star Wars, which are there, you go, because there is a Force at work. There is things going on. And basically, it's making the statement there is a Force for good, and it always wins out, which is a very important thing.
It's a very sort of religious allegory, though, isn't it? I think.
And then the Last Jedi,
God or...
then that was all completely trashed, and I quite like that. I mean, my favourite of the three, if I was going to watch one over and over again, it is The Last Jedi. I love the design of it.
Yeah.
I like Luke Skywalker returning. I don't mind that Luke Skywalker's broken. I mean, that's the film.
Yeah, I mean,
when people go, "Oh, that Luke Skywalker would never be like that," well, what happens when somebody's got, say, a father and they've been a great father, and then they become like an alcoholic, and then they go off the rails, and you're thinking that's not. This isn't my dad. So that was almost what it was like.
Yeah.
I respect all this, and I can actually step back and go, these are brilliant directors. I am not arrogant enough to say these people aren't brilliant directors. They've proved they got the job. What were they trying to say? But I do think the last one, which has some incredible moments in it, because I think J.J. Abrams is brilliant at action. Without a doubt, he's brilliant at action. But he just gave into what he thought the fans would want, and so he's just an overload of just chucking in what he thinks the fans would want. And of course, they didn't want it, really, did they? In the end, it's sort of ruined Star Wars.
And that's it's like it's like an audience, like each audience member and each person is an intelligent person. It's like that thing from Men in Black, isn't it? When it's like a person is smart, intelligent, but people are stupid. People are stupid, and they and everybody likes to be comfortable being part of a group and stuff like that. And I think that's that thing of like looking at it from like a parenting point of view, going, oh, okay, look, I tell you what, and it's like trying to negotiate and bargaining with a child or with an audience. It's like just, I don't know, and I mean, at the end of the day, just maybe just have faith in what you're doing, and if people don't like it, then they don't like it. But if you try and change something, they might still not like it, but then they're not going to like it because you were trying to do something that wasn't true.
You know what?
To your own artistry.
You know what this is all relating to? It's relating to reality. It's like it's all about what you first said.
Like the loop.
Because if you think about it, you do want to communicate. As an artist, you want to communicate. But the only way you can truly communicate is be, as everyone says, true to yourself, which means you've got to expose something that's real and actually put the audience away and go, this is actually what I think. This is what's going on right now. And this is a recording of me existing at this time.
Yeah.
Because I think that one of the things we haven't said, art's really important, because this idea of quality and what we think is good or right or whatever, it has to change because human beings change, and this is why the Doctor Who's in the 70s now, we appreciate them for different reasons. The original things have sort of gone. That idea of what is good has to be it has to be continually renegotiated. This is what we're doing here. We can talk about Star Wars, we can talk about Doctor Who. We're trying to negotiate what's good for now, and because we're living in an age where human beings have access to far more information than ever before, and their opinions are there's a sort of democratization of opinion, isn't there, basically, which must be a good thing, that everyone can have their say.
But then it's that thing of like, if the majority of people say something's good, does that automatically make it good? And it's like, no, not necessarily.
No. Because
you're taking a snapshot of what people's opinions are, maybe at that point in time, whether at that point in the day even, that people's opinions can change. And so there's no a sort of I'm going to use the word democracy, but I'm not talking about it politically, but just a consensus isn't necessarily the right.
But a consensus
answer.
Can be the right answer.
It can be, but it isn't necessarily.
That you have an individual and you have society, and there's a war going on between those two things, and sometimes it's good. I mean, I think we'd all agree that the government we've got in at the moment, I feel, whatever you believe politically, I think it would be good to have an election now, because this has got into too much of a mess and the people need to have their say. We've had too many prime ministers, that no one's chosen and all this type of stuff. I really believe in democracy. I think, that is what we need right now is an election.
I think, that's right. I mean, Boris did do it when he when he took over, he did have an election and then won it, and then you have to go, well, okay, so people are happy with that, and then that's why that lasted. But yeah, I think
so.
That's right.
Their argument would be, and I don't like it. You see, their argument would be that the economy is in such a bad state that we can't afford to have an election now. People need to make decisions, which sounds totalitarian to me. They know best, and so they need to make the decisions that are right. And I don't like the idea of that, but also I don't like the idea of the individual. That an individual person might be right and everyone else might be wrong. You know, like Rosa Parks. You know, not getting up on the bus. You know, that's an individual standing where goes, no, this isn't right. So that politically is a sort of is a dichotomy. Is it? And maybe that's what art is. Maybe there's a creative thing that it's about us. We need to express our personal viewpoint, whether it chimes or not. You need to be true. You know, it's like us doing this now. We could easily be doing what so many people do on YouTube, which is just running down Star Wars, you know, and then saying
we was what we did. Well, I think we did it in a much milder way.
Star Wars is terrible.
Yeah,
and that will have at least some traction. I'm sure we will. The title of this will have some consideration of that. You know, we're going to try and title it to get people to watch it. That's the consideration of the audience out there. But we're not here to rubbish Star Wars. We're trying to get to the bottom of what creativity and art is. I think that's what this is what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
You know,
we
never will. But
no, but I think that's why the idea of doing this podcast is because we, and like I said, we have conversations like this, like all the time. And when we'll have sitting on a lunch break and we'll have this conversation, and it will go on these tangents like these do, and then afterwards we're like, we should have recorded that, and so now we are. That's basically it, because it isn't one conversation that just goes, we've solved the problem. And I think that's why this is a continuous conversation that we can have about all sorts of things that are to do with art and creativity and self-expression. And you know, it's a massive, like you say, it's a massive conversation that will never really answer a question, but it might just ring true with some people, maybe. Who knows? That seems like a really good place to sort of wrap.
I felt that was the case. I thought I don't know whether we've achieved any good whatsoever with this conversation.
But I've enjoyed it.
My favourite thing was the street making Richard Boxley a scarf. I've got to be honest. I think that was the highlight. We need to get deeper into these stories.
I think next time I'll bring the scarf in.
Yes.
Could you do that?
Yes.
Yeah. If people actually watch this in the comments, if anyone bothers to watch this in the comments, we can. If you want to see the scarf, and apparently you have a hat as well.
Yes.
Although I think this is a bit of a con, from what you were saying.
A con? Why?
Because you said to me, I have a Tom Baker hat, but you've also said at another point. You've got to watch Richard with this, you see. And I will. I'm here to you know, just to point these things out. You said also that you've got an Indiana Jones hat.
It's the same hat.
It's the same hat, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, and that's because in the Indiana Jones and Tom Baker, it's the same hat. I can't remember which way around. Oh no, it's got to be Indiana Jones. The Indiana Jones hat was modelled on the Tom Baker hat.
The fedora. Fedora, is it?
Yeah. Specifically, it's exactly the same.
There's too much to unpack here. Yeah. There's too much to unpack.
Because Harrison Ford is such a Tom Baker fan.
That's not true. This is just you can't just come up with stuff. We get Harrison Ford is not probably ever going to watch this, but you'll get Harrison Ford sending us cease and desist and do not tell lies, because my favourite Doctor Who was actually Paul McGann, which would be amazing. I am going to have to go onto my film knowledge here, and Harrison Ford's hat was modelled on Humphrey Bogart's hat in Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
And that's what Tom Baker's hat was modelled on.
Okay. I'm going to wrap this up because apparently by me being in the middle, I'm in charge of this somehow.
Yeah,
But
you've got the
I should bring
computer.
my hat
I
in.
have the computer.
You have got the rubbish mic stand, though.
I have got the rubbish mic. Don't point that out. Now people are going to see
Rubbish
it on
mic stand, everybody.
there. And
Look.
even the people that are going to just listen to this audio now also know I've
Joe
got the rubbish
Rogan,
mic
they've all got
stand.
the same stands. We haven't. We've got the rubbish one here.
Thank you very much for listening. We will see you hopefully on the next one. We will do another one, I think. We'll just keep doing it.
Tell your friends.
Yes, please
Right,
do.
and if this is on a YouTube somewhere, because I'm the most experienced YouTuber here.
Yes, and we will
at the
get
end,
into that on other podcasts. We will discuss this.
We have to say, if you like this video, like it. And if you want to watch more, subscribe. I know there's virtually no videos at the moment, but still subscribe because you'll be able to see the next one. And that's it. There's no Patreon or any way of us making any money out of this, which is a terrible shame. But if you all get your friends to watch it, then we can make a little bit of money out of it, and then we can do more.
And then we'll do more. Well, we're going to do more.
But you can support us right now by liking and subscribing, and most importantly, put something in the comments. We're going to read the comments, and that will be hopefully the material for the next podcast. So please do that. See,
thank you very much.
Professional.
Bye.